Good evening and welcome to the Standards of Geekness podcast. I am one third of your hosts, Evan Jones, aka My Couch Falls Out, but I don't.
I am the current People's Champion and the holder of Nuggets, Daniel Roberts.
You're just a straight nugget, Daniel Roberts. But I am the real champion around here, the people's champion. I'm the SOG predictions champion. Damn it, Daniel Roberts. I am Brian Mercer, and I'm delighted to be here. It is Tuesday night, and it wouldn't be Tuesday night without being on the Standards of Geekness podcast. It's good to be with you, Evan.
It's good to be with you. So I've been thinking, guys, before we jump into this week's wrestling news, you guys have had this whole hubbub about prediction championships, and I defended it for, 3-4 months? And, as the champion, I feel like I'm kind of entitled to a spot in this trivia contest. I feel like I've earned my way there.
And now you see how it is. You see how it is. I said that I was delighted to see you, Evan. I said I was so excited to see you. And now my partner stabs me in the back after all I've done. After all I've done to earn this championship.
I mean, to be fair, Evan never got his rematch, so.
All right, Evan. You know what? I'm not afraid. I'm a fighting champion. I'm a hardworking defending champion, and I have an encyclopedic knowledge of wrestling trivia. So you know what? You go ahead and you join this competition. I'll be happy to defeat you, almost as bad as I'm going to defeat Daniel Roberts.
I mean, it'd be quite embarrassing, Mr. Mercer, if you lose to the man with the least amount of knowledge.
Well, that's an oxymoron.
No, Evan, I'm afraid you're mistaken. He's just a moron.
All right, well, bear with me, guys. I'm going to get our social media links out there. Got to find an easier system for this, but we'll do what we got to do here on the Standards of Geekness podcast because we like that we're growing. We like that you guys are liking the podcast. We want to thank everyone. We're almost at 200 members on the Facebook page. Our Kick channel's popping off, Twitch channel's popping off. And YouTube's growing. I'll have a video up shortly later this week about the contest for the deck box giveaway as a reminder. So, yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, we've been growing all over. It's been a fun week. It's been an exciting week. What have you been up to, Mark? I've been kind of mean to you since we got on the air. What good is what's new and positive in Daniel Roberts' life?
Well,
it doesn't matter what's going on in Daniel Roberts' life.
I knew it was coming.
You kind of walked into that one, man.
Of course, I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming at some point, and I walked right into it. Great.
As always, Daniel. As always.
Okay. Seriously, Daniel, what's been going on?
Are you gonna finally let me talk?
Giving you an opportunity.
Okay. Well, finally. Well, what's happening in the life of Dan Roberts? Well, essentially, I've
Evan, it is so good to see you. Every week, I have to go for 6 days without getting to see and talk to one of my best buddies. I'm looking forward to potentially getting to see you later this week. It's funny because we actually live so close to each other, but we very rarely. Actually, no joke. I actually drove right past your street earlier today, but just our lives are just so busy that we don't get to really interact as much. I'm gonna take off the sunglasses. I'm gonna go over to regular.
I mean, you're already stripping off.
It's kind of hard to wear sunglasses indoors. It's just there's a song about it I heard.
Daniel, You need to speak up. You need to be part of the conversation. Do you know the song he's talking about?
Not a clue.
I wear my sunglasses inside so I can see. You don't know that song? Jesus Christ, we're old as fuck. Anyways, moving along. All right, so
What's the
we'll just
world
hop
come
right
to?
into the GOAT results from this last weekend. We had kind of an interesting situation happen. So, 3 of our 4 matches ended decisively. One of our matches ended in a tie. So we'll go with the ones that were decisive first. Uh, I kind of expected this to happen. Mick Foley defeated Hulk Hogan in a clean sweep, moving on in the GOAT tournament. If we're being realistic, I think, you know, Hogan has a bigger impact, but I think just the negativity really soured
There,
people on that.
there's a recency bias through this entire tournament, and it's
There
not
is a
just
little
in
bit.
regards to, what the current how popular the current superstars are, but it also translates back to the popularity of old superstars in regards to current actions. Hogan's legacy is tarnished. Like if he had faded
Yeah,
off
no.
into the sunset in like 2005, 2006, he'd come back, done that nice little run with The Rock, gotten one last WWE title run and everything, and then just like after that, just kind of like faded out. Never went to TNA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think
That,
I think the
and
way we look at him is entirely different.
I'd argue that Hogan Knows Best also really undermined a lot of the public perception on Hulk Hogan and his family, and it didn't help with what happening, and then him
Oh,
doubling down on it for years.
I think
Um,
there's several things that everything with Bubba Love Sponge, everything with the fallout with his wife, with the divorce, everything with his son, with the car accident. I think all of
yeah,
those, and even the the overprotective nature towards Brooke
Yeah.
that
mhm,
then translated into it just bled over from Hogan Knows Best into
mhm.
everything that happened in TNA. Um,
Yeah, I'd argue that was probably the darkest period for TNA, in my opinion. Was just the
I mean,
Hogan Bischoff era.
I had to watch 3 years of that shit. It was the worst ride of all time.
Yeah,
it's
I
funny,
mean,
everybody downs on it, but there's a part of the of that era that I have to say I really do look back fondly on, and that's the Aces and Eights angle. I
That
actually
that was
Bully Ray
exceptional.
specifically, the growth of Bully Ray during that time
Yeah,
period was awesome.
yeah, I 100% agree. I think that was the one exception during that period. Because during that same period, we also had Sting versus Jeff Hardy at Victory Road.
Mhm.
That whole, snafu. Um, just TNA really was in a position to succeed, and I do think Eric Bischoff has the skills to could have brought them to the forefront. I just think they went about it in a way that kind of alienated their own fan base. I think they jumped the gun, moving to you know Monday nights, and I think it was a huge missed opportunity. No pun intended.
Yeah, and I do think especially Dixie Carter has got to play a part in that. I mean, she doesn't get enough hate, but I think she should because of the state she left it in, and the fact it just kept being moved around, moved around, moved around. It's just
Yeah, we could do a whole episode on the rise and fall and rise of TNA. Honestly, it's quite
yeah,
fascinating. Friend of the pod, Whip Dog, had Joe Hendry on his podcast earlier today.
Mhm.
I've been trying to download this video, it just won't play. If you guys want to check it out, make sure you go over to the Whip Show's podcast page. We'll share it to our Facebook group later so you guys can see. He's responding to Nick Nemeth's comments, and I think we got something cooking there, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Didn't mean to interrupt you, Evan.
I was just saying, Jake the Snake defeated Tommy Dreamer.
oh,
That one was kind of expected. It was an 85% to 15% victory. I think some old school ECW fans voted for Tommy there, but I don't think the result was nearly as close as even that. I think there's a level of recency bias there. Just in terms of main event draw, main events, potential. Jake was always there. Tommy, and the ECW on their own days.
What was the final? I'm sorry. What was the final score on that?
Jake got 85% of the votes. Tommy got 15.
Okay. The way you were making it sound was that Tommy won. And I was like, huh. I would be surprised to hear that Tommy Dreamer won.
I would say for Tommy Dreamer, he was kind of more of a utility player. He was never like the main star. He was never like
he was like one of the biggest baby faces and
he
heels
was
in early
huge.
ECW.
He was huge in ECW, and his legacy in ECW, you know, it's made him like Mr. ECW everywhere he's gone. And
see, I always feel Mr. ECW is RVD.
No, he was the whole effing show.
Yeah, he was the whole effing show. You know, and then there's that whole rivalry with RVD and Sabu during that time. And like, honestly, when you said that when Tommy Dreamer was huge, I kept expecting Bully Ray to burst through your door saying, "Yeah," because he's just like they do on Busted Open.
But I think that Tommy Dreamer, I think he was really big in ECW, but ultimately, even when you look back at the Attitude Era's big three, WCW, WWF, and ECW, ECW is still the dark horse, the third place. You know, they are still the smallest of the three, and it was always a thing for them to have to like get onto one of the other shows and then have to come up through the ranks through that show. You know, like you can argue about like, I mean, Eddie Guerrero was in all three. Chris Jericho was in all three. Chris Benoit was in all three. All three of those guys went on to become champions and have very successful careers and main event WrestleMania and all that. But it wasn't just because of the things that they did in ECW. Tommy Dreamer, on the other hand, is kind of like ridden the I'm the ECW legend guy for years and years and years ad nauseum. Like even Paul Heyman is, known now. Yeah, you know him because he was, the creator of ECW, but he was also the advocate. And now he's the wise man. Oh, and he had that commentary stint with Jim Ross. Like he's had other things since then. He didn't just stagnate on it. And that's where I think that Tommy Dreamer falls short. Jake the Snake Roberts, on the other hand, he's a freaking legend. And straight up, if I was just going to put the promo skills of one versus the other, Jake the Snake's already won the whole match.
Yeah. The next one was honestly the most shocking to me. I did vote for Kenny. Kenny Omega defeated Dave Bautista. It was not close. It was kind of a landslide. It was like 80-some-odd% or something like that for Kenny. I know recency bias probably played a little bit of a factor into that, but I think when you look at Batista's wrestling career, he really only wrestled from like 2003 to 2014. And honestly, the peak of that was 2005 to 2010, 11, somewhere in there.
Well, to be fair, I think that Dave Bautista would have won this, but he got out there and forgot who he was supposed to vote for. No? Oh, come on! You guys are no fun.
It'll be huge. You should have voted for me, Dave.
I mean,
I need some Donald Cash commercials for this pod, man.
I mean, to be fair,
I can tolerate
speed dials. If you need me to give him a call, I mean,
give me what I want.
I was a little surprised by that. What was more surprising was Cody versus Dusty ending in a dead tie, 50-50.
I think this is actually this is cool, man, because this is what if we were running this, if this was like a live tournament and we were watching these matches, like, man, wouldn't you want this to be one of the ones you'd want to see run back one more time? Oh, like, yeah. These two would go.
Why don't I be the deciding vote? Because I never voted in the tournament, so I could change the dynamic.
You didn't vote?
No. because I wanted to see how
That, ladies and gentlemen, is
Is
exactly
our
why
first.
Daniel Roberts has managed to rack himself up now 3 negative stars. That's right, Daniel. I'm docking you another star for this. I can't believe that you wouldn't go onto Facebook and vote.
You're on there
I'll
all
tell
the
you
time.
what though. We're gonna do you a favor, okay?
Okay.
This week, because we didn't get a clear-cut winner here, all right? And we need a clear-cut winner. We're going to run this one back. We're going to run this one back, but we're not just going to do it on our Facebook. Starting this week, everybody here on YouTube, you are going to be given the chance to vote too. We're going to put the polls up here on YouTube, and we're going to add those results to the Facebook results so that we can get a more full picture of what's of what you guys want, of who you think is the GOAT.
Mm-hmm. And Daniel, I want to say I'm deeply, deeply disappointed in you. You've earned the first ever of this episode. Do fucking better. I'm gonna add an additional -2 stars to Brian's total for you because you are literally chronically online. I have thousands of memes and videos from you all day long while I'm working. In -5 stars. Pretend you're Mercedes Monet. Try to dance up some stars.
I mean, to be fair, I could be doing first Kenny Omega.
Well, it's too late for you to vote in those polls, but I expect to see your votes on the next one. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have to dock you -10 points if you don't vote in the next ones.
Oh, no.
You're never getting, at this point, like, this is the sad thing. I don't know if you realize this, okay? I don't know if you get this. At this point, I could give you stars. Like you could say something wonderful and intellectual and thought provoking, and I'd be like, "Holy crap, Daniel, that's great. I'm giving you a star," and you'd still be down by 9 stars. You know what? I'm going to let you think about that for a second while I remind everybody watching here tonight to go to duelingguard.com/SOG. You can get all your great gaming products there. We got sleeves. We got play mats, deck boxes. Evan's got a deck box we're doing a giveaway for. You can get 5% off all your purchase. They are our sponsor here tonight. Go and support them, and by supporting them, you support us. We thank them, and we thank you.
Yep. Next 4 up for the GOAT tournament, we've got Nick Bockwinkel versus the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns.
Ooh.
Sorry about your damn luck, Nick Bockwinkel.
That's
And I love me some Nick Bockwinkel, but when we say there's levels to it, we mean it.
I don't know who Nick Bockwinkel is, so I'm just going to vote for Roman Reigns.
I'm muting you.
All right. Go to the corner. You know what? Go to the corner. Okay, look. We need to have a talk. Just bro.
Who hired him?
Like, I get that he's Mark, but if you don't know who Nick Bockwinkel is, then how can you even are you dabbing in the corner?
You didn't miss much, Steve. You just missed a British idiot dabbing in the corner when he's been put in timeout. And this time it's not even for overly sexualizing women. We got you muted there, Daniel. You're just dancing like an idiot online. Honestly, this could just be the podcast, and it would somehow get you -stars. All right.
How is it your dancing is worse than your opinions?
Excuse me? Fucking excuse me?
You heard
my
me.
dances are fucking awesome.
I appreciate that joke, Steve, because it's a double entendre. Because you're not only saying he's lost in the kick as in a butt, but you're calling him chunky too. That's funny.
That is, you gotta appreciate tiered humor.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure. I didn't realize that something could be worse than Daniel's opinions or his promos, but his dancing apparently is. You gonna go on live and dance for 20 minutes?
Hello.
Yeah.
God,
That was
why?
terrifying.
Why?
Anyways,
why would you do that? Why would you do that to a viewing audience? You're like, you know what? We need to. We have too many people watching tonight. Way to go, Daniel.
Well,
views go down. I personally hold Daniel Roberts accountable.
I mean, I'm pretty much representing the entire United Kingdom here, so
that's not a good thing.
Wait. You represent the United Kingdom?
Of course.
I'd like to say something to the people of the United Kingdom. I am so sorry, but you can do so much better.
This is to the entire country of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth. You can do so much fucking better.
We believe in you, okay? Even if you
no wonder
don't
they
believe
lost
in
to
you,
us.
but we believe in you, okay?
Jesus Christ. That explains a lot about their country, though. All right, moving along. Monday Night Raw this past yesterday. Still getting used to being on Tuesdays.
This past yesterday. That's the most eloquent thing you've ever said, Evan.
I don't doubt that. Oldberg returned. He will be facing Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship at Saturday Night Main Event next month in Atlanta. I'm just going to say this. I think this is a lose-lose situation for Gunther. He wins. He beat a 58-year-old guy who gets winded on his way down the ramp. He loses. Well, Jesus Christ. All credibility for the ring general goes out the fucking window. I don't think Gunther's losing. But, this whole hodgepodge of, let's take the belt off of Jey Uso, which could be a blessing in disguise for Jey. Giving it to Gunther, I don't know. To me, this just felt like I would have rather kept the belt on Jey, had him drop it to somebody else at SummerSlam. If this was their plan all along, Gunther versus Goldberg doesn't need the title, in my opinion. It didn't need it.
Okay, that I 100% agree with. I don't think that Goldberg... Actually, I think that Goldberg versus Gunther with the title on the line actually makes it worse, because if Goldberg is coming in as the old grizzled cowboy for one last showdown, right? Like, if that's the story that we're telling, it's not for the title. He's out to make a one last statement kind of thing. Like, let's be real here. He's in no kind of physical shape or position for another run of any kind. Even if it's like a 2-match title run where he wins the title and then loses the title. This is a one-off. And until I can see something physical out of Goldberg, that's exactly what I'm going to keep saying. Because, look at the condition he was in when he fought the Undertaker back at Crown Jewel. That was horrible.
The last match I think he was relatively in decent condition for was against Brock Lesnar, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he nearly killed Taker. He dropped him on his fucking head.
And I think that, I think that actually the way to book this, and this is going to sound weird, a lot. It's always been a thing that you go out on your back, put over the next generation, and everything. And I think that I think you're wrong, Evan. See, I'm going to disagree with you here. No, you love that when we have a good disagreement on the podcast. Well, I don't think this is a good decision as a match. It's not really what I want to see. One thing that we've had a serious dissent in, a lack of, is seeing Gunther as a heel, and a dominant, like, scary heel. Well, I think we get out of this, if you book it right, is I book Goldberg to lose, but I book him to lose in basically that match that he had against William Regal, except like in a way that it's more palatable. I have
Mhm.
Goldberg spear Gunther out of the blocks, hit him with the jackhammer, 1, 2, kick out. And then after that, it becomes the Gunther show. And he wears down Goldberg with a bunch of rest holds that are submission holds that are essentially rest holds. That way you can get 8-10 minutes out of Goldberg while letting him essentially sit there and just be in submission holds until finally he taps out. I don't believe, and I could be wrong about this, but I don't believe that Goldberg ever tapped out in his career. And if he did,
Maybe late WCW he did. I didn't
against
really watch
Bret
a lot
Hart.
of
Against
WCW.
Bret Hart would be the only possibility. Yeah, go to work, Mark. Go to work. Find
There
me
we
out.
go. Here we go. Yes, Goldberg has tapped out in professional wrestling matches. While he is known for his undefeated
Scott
streak
Steiner.
and image, he has tapped out on occasion, particularly in his early career and in some non-WWE matches, according to wrestling news sites.
Oh, okay.
He tapped out to Scott Steiner in the Steiner Recliner in '99.
So
So,
yes.
and yes, Steve, that's what she said. Quick match, hit her with the jackhammer.
So like if you book it this way, Goldberg gets his flurry of offense in the beginning, but ultimately the story of the match is Gunther destroying a legend that is known for being like a destructive monster. And that's something that we haven't had really in WWE lately, is that destructive legend monster that one of our current guys can destroy, and it puts them onto another level. Goldberg still has the aura of the streak. He'll always have that aura. So even at the end of his career, getting that singles win, and especially a dominant singles win over him, it can mean something. I think that was kind of a throwaway that they, with Lesnar. Again, Lesnar didn't really need to beat The Undertaker, and Lesnar didn't really need to have that whole thing with Goldberg. But, and to have that dominant, where I think you can get more out of it with Gunther. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. But at the same time, I don't think it's really what we want to see. I mean, I think that all of us would rather see, a more athletic contest.
Braun Breaker would be the closest analogy to Goldberg I could think of. Rick Steiner's boy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me, I would probably do what they did when they first brought Goldberg back in 2017, where it ends in 90 seconds. So I'm thinking, like you said, Brian, out the gate, spear, jackhammer, 1, 2, kick out, and then maybe Gunther puts him in the submission, chokes him out, lifts up the arm. That's it, done.
No. See, I don't want it to. That's what I'm telling you, though. In order to have the contrast here, I don't want it to end real quick. Let Goldberg have his big flourish at the beginning, because that's all he's going to be good for, right? He can hit his spear, he can hit his jackhammer, 1, 2, kick out, and then I want Gunther to run him ragged for the next 5-6 minutes. Just submission hold after submission hold after submission hold. Things where Goldberg doesn't have to actually get up and be physical. Like, he can essentially just lay there, but he's not giving up because you still have that grit of Goldberg. Or even after he's clearly past his point, Gunther won't let it be over. Gunther could win. Gunther has the win. 1, 2, Gunther picks him up. That's something we've never seen.
Here's an idea. Do you think his son will get involved, kind of like a Dominic Mysterio kind of thing?
I was trying to start to say something before you interrupted me there, Dan. I'm partially with Brian on how I would book this. I was actually thinking that I would have Goldberg lose in a similar fashion. I do think it would benefit Gunther to have him, as Goldberg's about to fade, have him, basically release the hold, get out the ring, go antagonize his son, drag his son over the barrier. Gunther can choke his son out beside the ring. Goldberg can make the save on his son, sacrificing himself. Rolls him into the ring,
like
1,
that.
2, 3. The X factor here, Seth Rollins has the Money in the Bank. There is a world here where Goldberg wins and Seth cashes in, seizing his opportunity. I don't think that's going to happen. I think if Seth attempts to cash in, I think Roman appears to take him out.
See, I don't think they'll do it on a Smackdown main event. I don't think it's that big enough of a like.
I don't think Goldberg versus Gunther is the main event for this. It's not the draw you think it is. Even in Atlanta, it's not 1999.
Here's another thought that I had on this. Kind of like playing into some of that. Was that the way that this has been verbalized is not that it's Goldberg's last match, but that it's Goldberg's last run.
Oh my god!
Better yet, Brett. I need you to. I need you to be the. I need you to be Gunther's manager in this.
Oh my god! Look at the next message. Oh my god!
I need you to kick Bill Goldberg in the head because Bill Goldberg has it coming.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! Goldberg is up one versus Windows. Don't tell Sean that.
I mean, we got a celebrity in here. I'll take that.
Hot takes.
The Standards of Geekness podcast page. You never know who's gonna roll through. Brett, thank you for coming by.
I would love that. Okay, so Brett.
Holy shit!
Oh God, just like so taken out of it.
Pop out of me.
All right, so long-awaited receipt indeed, Steve. The long-awaited receipt indeed. So going back to what I was saying, they've verbalized this that it's not Goldberg's last match, but that's his last run. And in order to get the most out of that, I think we've already actually, kind of alluded to it with Evan a minute ago. Isn't the match that you guys would kind of rather watch Braun Breaker versus Goldberg? Like, the spear versus the spear. Like, there is an argument, we could have a big argument about this. Who has the best spear in the business? A lot of people for a long time said the OG Goldberg spear was the best. Whether you agree or disagree, that is an argument that has been made since the beginning. I would argue that Braun's is the best spear.
This is the best spear I've ever seen. I just had a wild thought. What if we do get the Seth cash in? Seth cashes in on Goldberg, and then it starts to lead to Goldberg on his last ride climb, fighting his way up against Seth and against Braun and Bronson, and then he beats them in the first two times. He beats Bronson Reed and beats Braun Breaker, then falls again to Seth Rollins, and then Goldberg says one more time. Seth refuses. Braun Breaker steps up and says, "You got to put your career on the line." Then he goes on his back for Braun Breaker. That could be a world I could be happy with.
I could be down with that. Like if Braun Breaker was ultimately getting the push out of this, I would be so down for it.
Or it ends up as in this Goldberg's last match, and then we have Bill is all elite, and then has like 5 appearances on Dynamite, and then one on.
No, I actually Goldberg. I think he does have nostalgia, and a lot of regret for some missed opportunities of his own. But ultimately, I think that when he is done with this, he will actually be done with it. He's got enough other interests. Um,
But
and personally, I would love it if the Hitman just made sure that was a clear cut end. But that's just me. Like, wouldn't it be a great finish for the end of his last match to get super kicked in the head? Just saying.
But
Would
at
be.
the same time, Goldberg does love money, as we have seen from Saudi shows.
Everybody loves money, Daniel.
Everybody loves money, Daniel. This is a capitalistic society.
Who's not to say Tony Khan be like, here's a big dump truck of money. Come to
I don't see
AEW,
how
have a
that
match with
benefits
him."
AEW. I don't see how that benefits AEW. AEW is on the rise again right now. Like
Mhm.
they're putting on consistently better program than WWE. It's just a fact. Even with the Moxley shit right now. Even with the
See,
Moxley shit.
I'd say that they're both about on par right now. There's things I like and don't like in both. But
I mean,
that's
I would,
neither here
I
nor
would
there.
like to see Okada versus Goldberg. That would be definitely be an interesting match.
Okada versus Goldberg? No.
I mean, it would be
No.
interesting.
Yeah, on a video game.
No, I mean, it would, like, imagine that Goldberg trying to go toe to toe with Okada. That'd be amazing.
Dan,
The
for your
crack
own
coming
credibility,
in
I'm gonna need you
3,
to shut it.
I mean, Dave Meltzer might rate it 5 stars. Goldberg
2,
versus Okada.
1. All right, give him the graphic.
Do fucking better. Jesus fucking Christ. That might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And holy shit.
That's saying something considering, we do a weekly show together.
Yeah, like what's it like being so dumb you top your dumbest thing week to week? Like, how is Darwinism not caught up to you?
I'm surprised I haven't got a Nobel Peace Prize for the wrestling takes I do.
That's called a Razzies, Dan.
I mean, unless I get like a Make-A-Wish wish.
You are a Make-A-Wish.
I mean, I am super special.
Anyways, moving along. Asuka returned, even though they spoiled her return in the graphic and they didn't really do it to a whole lot of fanfare.
Well, more importantly, Asuka returned with her same music. And I don't know about you guys. I was petrified if they were going to change Asuka's music.
Death Rebel it. Yeah, no. They gave AJ Styles back his old music on SmackDown too, so that's good.
I noticed.
Although recently they are trying to change everyone's themes up to actual fit, like maybe like newer, like 2000s wrestling themes. They're trying to give everyone their kind of unique identity.
That's what they should have been doing all along, not this garbage. Death Rebel has legit 2 good songs he's ever recorded for WWE. And that's Roman Reigns' Tribal Chief original entrance and Bronson Reed's intro music. That's it.
I mean, I heard they're changing his theme song again, though, to like a new one.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. He's having a
do
character.
Jey Uso? Did you do the Usos?
Maybe? I don't know. I have to look into that. Well, okay.
I heard they both.
The Uso Penitentiary theme is hot. Like, you got to give that one.
Yeah, the Bronson Reed's one, like when I was at Raw and his Titantron hit, I hadn't really ever paid attention to his Titantron. The music slaps hard as fuck with that Titantron because he's basically a giant kaiju rampaging through the city. But then I realized the song is a babyface song.
Who did Seth Rollins Burn It Down?
Oh shit! I used to know this off the top
Isn't
of my head.
it CFO in it? I swear. I swear it was CFO. Surely.
Yeah, CFO.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I swear they don't get enough credit because I remember back in the day they were getting criticised for how shit their theme songs were, and now compared to
Vince tried to make everybody sound the same because he wanted magical Christmas fairyland with it, with the wrestlers being his action figures. That's something him and Tony Khan had in common. But Asuka returned, winning the Queen of the Ring qualifier that she was in. That was fantastic for her. Rhea Ripley getting involved, reigniting the feud with Raquel Rodriguez. Stephanie McCurry looked amazing in the match. Honestly, I'm excited to see what they do with the Queen of the Ring this year. Hopefully it's something that actually comes of something. My money's still on Jade Cargill winning it, just because having her win the title at SummerSlam and then having Bianca cash in on her, or not Bianca, Naomi cash in on her. I think that'll extend some legs for that feud to WrestleMania for next year.
What it does is it pushes everything on a converging timeline point. Like you start to see the narrowing of the paths to these superstars colliding again, which is something that I think is kind of missed right now. Like, I don't know how you guys feel about the booking. I always felt like there was a certain amount of unpredictability that you want, and then there's a certain amount of predictability that you want. And
there's not a lot of balance to the booking right now, in my opinion, in either company.
yeah,
they're really, really good at some things and really, really bad at others. I'd argue AEW is really super strong with tag teams, not so great with long-term storytelling. I'd argue that WWE couldn't book a tag team to save their life. Not 100% convinced that Triple H can book the women's division either.
You're just being a hater. You are just being a tag.
AEW.
You're a tag team hater.
No, I love tag team wrestling.
No, you know what happens to tag team haters? Xavier Woods shows up. Big pimpin'.
Welcome to the Haters Ball 2025. Silky Johnson, a.k.a. Xavier Woods. Holy shit. I popped so hard when I saw this. I was like, holy shit, he's dressing up as Silky Johnson.
Can I just say, the microphone tucked in his jacket is so good.
It's
lucky I don't know who Silky Jackson is, because it's probably way before my time.
It's from Chappelle's show, because you were like 6 when this was on the air and your parents would have never let you watch it.
I'm born. I've always still in my
you know what?
Dan,
Daniel,
I'll send you some
Daniel,
clips later.
You know, as a matter of fact, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun for everybody in the viewing audience. Dan, I want you to leave the podcast for like about 5 minutes, and this is what I want you to do. Okay. Just hear me out. I want you to go, and I want you to get on YouTube. I want you to write this down. I want you to look this up specifically. Okay.
Hold on. Let me get a pen and paper.
Oh, it's about to happen. He's about to learn today.
Okay. Let me get the paper. And we should.
This is gonna be hilarious.
You sound like a Muppet Chef.
Okay. Now, Dan, there's a whole bunch of these that I could give you, but I'm not gonna give you the most famous. I'm going to give you maybe the most controversial.
Okay.
So I want you to look up black.
Oh no, this doesn't sound like okay. Black.
White. Supremacist.
Or Clayton Bigsby. It's the most controversial of all of the Chappelle Show clips, but watch that clip at some point.
No. Watch it right now and then come back. You go. Okay. I want you to leave right now. I want you to go watch that clip on YouTube. I want you to watch that skit on YouTube, and then you come on back into the pod, and then we'll kind of Until then, Evan and I'll just keep going with the raw results. You saw the show.
Okay.
Well, we need to broaden your comedy horizon.
Yeah, we'll see you in a few minutes.
Sorry to my UK audience. I will be back in 5 minutes. I do apologize for my absence.
Oh, trust me. Your UK audience is thanking us.
But yeah, I popped super hard when I saw that. I'm glad that they got the New Day under the belts. The interesting thing for me is Jey Uso winning the King of the Ring qualifier and heading to the semis now. After SmackDown's results, we've got 4 baby faces in the semifinals.
All right, so I've been looking forward to talking about this all night, all day. This is where I said that like I agree with you that last night's Raw, the episode of Raw was it was boring. Like it was kind of
calling
just
it mid is
yeah
calling it
mid
mid would be kind.
yeah
It would
yeah
be kind.
100% agree. I hit multiple points last night where I just kind of turned it off and went and did something else and came back and was like, okay, yeah, I have YouTube. I don't I don't have to watch it
Background
while it's
noise,
live.
basically.
But the idea of Jey Uso qualifying for the King of the Ring, Sami Zayn being in King of the Ring, Cody Rhodes being King of the Ring, it leads to a lot of interesting opportunities. And so my brain started going on doing the what if machine thing. And I came up with a really cool scenario that I would love to see play out. Let me hit you with this, Evan. So what if we get to King of the Ring and we get to a finals of Jey Uso versus Sami Zayn? Okay. All right, cool. We kind of would love to see these two go at it because they haven't gone at it since they became brothers. They became family. Since Sammy became an Oos, an honorary Oos, you know? Like there was that Kevin Owens stint, but they didn't go one-on-one.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely down for that. I think it would actually be really compelling to have that match as a what if scenario. I
Well,
think. Go ahead.
so leading up into this, and they like to do a lot of, kind of teasers and things into things, Easter eggs. Well, one thing that we've seen leading up into this is we've seen the same messaging being given to both Sami Zayn and Jey Uso of you need to put yourself before your friends. You need to, your friends are the thing that's going to drag you down and stuff. So what if we get to the King of the Ring and we have Sami Zayn go over on Jey Uso? Sami Zayn wins the King of the Ring against an opponent we can totally believe that he can defeat. And what if that was the thing that made Jey snap? What if we turn Jey heel? And I know what you're saying. You're going, Brian, that doesn't make any sense. He's the biggest money maker. He's a huge baby face right now. Hold on a second. I'm going somewhere with this.
I'm willing to hear you out.
All right. So this is all to set up an arc to lead into the Survivor Series. Okay. By having Jey turn heel, snap, we take him over to SmackDown. And he's running roughshod over there, and he's showing that new darker side, which is now going to be contrasted to Jimmy, who's going, bro, what's going on? By the way, I've heard about all the stuff about the Usos getting back together as a tag team. I know that.
I don't want to see that.
I know. I don't want to see it either. That's why I'm pitching this. Listen up, Triple H. All right. So in comes back our OG tribal chief. Okay. And we're going to start crossing some storylines. I am pitching that at SummerSlam, we get Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. This time it's a flip. That was the match 2 years ago in Detroit at SummerSlam, main event. But this time, Roman is the baby, Jey is the heel, and Roman's whole thing is he's trying to bring Jey back to the good path so that he is got that mindset to be that Uso, to be that tribal chief, to be that next leader that now Roman sees him as. Roman sees that he has that ability. Roman sees that he has the ability to capture the title and to carry the title. Okay? But now Jay's acting like a jackass, and Roman's got to bring him back into the family, back into that higher mindset. Ultimately, now you're able to pull together Jimmy, Roman, Jey, all into this story while still having that Jay connection over to Sammy from what happened. Sammy's over here. What's Sammy doing the whole time? Well, Sammy is going to be involved in a whole story arc with Gunther, with Seth, the players that he's been setting up all his story shit with for the last couple of months. Sammy wanting to get that world title, while ultimately Seth and his power group are the group that can't be stopped on Raw. Sammy needs help. Just in time for November, where he looks back at Roman and says, I was there for you when you needed me. Come help me deal with this. I think that like this is all a way to pull back together version 3 of the Bloodline, and I also think that for this iteration, because of his popularity, this iteration also includes Jacob Fatu.
I could see that. So I had a similar thought. I don't think Cody Rhodes needs to win King of the Ring. I don't think Randy Orton needs to win King of the Ring. They both could make a challenge to John Cena and be believable. They've been there before.
Mhm.
I actually have the inverse here. I think it's Sammy that snaps. Sammy has been being plagued by Karrion Kross for so long that something's going to happen in that finals of King of the Ring. And, whether it's Seth getting involved to screw over Jey Uso, Sammy's going to take advantage. He's going to finally snap and take advantage. Sammy's going to be the fourth man.
That was what I was going to ask you. Do you believe that Sami Zayn then is the fourth man?
I do believe that.
And then you think Sammy goes after the other title.
Correct. And I think it's all been a chess game up to this point. They've been poking and prodding and trying to get Sammy to agree. Now that he's snapped, all bets are off. You could have him help Seth's group against the Bloodline with Jacob Fatu, the Usos, and Roman Reigns.
So,
I think that
no matter what, though, okay, so we're both in line here. We both agree that we're looking at a Sammy versus Jay final in the King of the Ring, and we both agree that one of them is turning heel in or after the match.
I would be shocked if it happened before the match. I think it's happening probably in the match. There is a world where I could see it happening after the match.
I see it happening after the match.
There's a world where I could see, like, let's say
if
Jay wins and Sammy snaps.
If Jay loses to Sammy and sees it as Sammy just took, food out of his son's mouth and snapped.
I don't think they're going to Austin themselves again. They made that mistake before in the early 2000s where they took their top merch seller and turned him heel. I think they need to let that candle burn a little bit more before they do that. What I could see happening is Jay winning the King of the Ring and Sammy finally snapping also, where he turns heel because he loses. He's tired of being the plucky friend that always helps his friends, and that Karrion was right all along, and that he's taking advantage of. What was that?
But I said that's a dangerous thing to say. Karrion was right all along. But
I'm telling you, push Karrion Kross. He has returned.
I still maintain.
What the fuck did I just watch? I've heard the N word so many times. I think it's been ingrained into my skull.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
We'll talk more about that off camera, Dan.
You're welcome, Dan, and every one of you who's enjoying this crash out right now. I hope you enjoy it too.
And if you enjoy a good crash out, make sure you crash out into duelingguard.com's cart enter the code SOG for that 5% off to support the pod, so that we can continue to support you.
What the fuck?
That's the most awkward transition ever.
I saw my moment. I tried to force it.
How? What?
All right. So the Becky Bailey segment. I think. Are we all in agreement that, like, I thought that segment was really bad, and it came
Horrible.
across as very
The
clunky.
literally the only part of it that I thought was redeemable was the end with the slap and then Bailey turning it into the forearm.
Yeah.
Like that was the only part of it that I enjoyed.
I can't take Becky seriously as a heel, I think. And I think that's part of my problem. She always acts kind of like cartoonish and over the top in a way that's like campy. And sometimes you can get away with that, but like I just have a hard time understanding what the goal is here in terms of getting it. It's to get this feud over, but like she seems disinterested in this match. Like just it's on her face. And like I don't know if that's just it or what.
I don't think Becky is an effective heel. There are moments where she seems like she's getting it. And then there are other moments. But that segment with her and Bailey last night was just awkward. Specifically, there was a part where Bailey like came up to her and she's like leaning on the ropes, and then Bailey's like saying, "No, come on, get off the ropes and fight me." And it was what it almost came across like was that they both had different ideas about what the promo was supposed to be going into it. And I almost felt like Bailey was trying to set up that slap forearm right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like that's where it was supposed to happen.
It felt like it went too long.
Yeah.
And I don't,
there was a part of it that made sense at the beginning. But I think that's exactly it. It felt like it went too long.
Well, that kind of leans into the whole, like, cartoonishness nature of her as a heel, in my opinion. Like, her heat isn't, like, bad heat, but it's just, like, you're fucking goofball. Like, what the fuck? Like, I can't take you seriously. And it's kind of... I have the same problem with Solo Sikoa right now. His facial expressions and corniness just make him unbelievable to me.
It's the Bobby Lashley syndrome. That's what I call it at this point. It's Smiling Bob syndrome.
God damn it, Smiling Bob.
He's back. He is back. All you OG Standards of Geekness listeners, you know about Smiling Bob. I
don't have a Bobby Lashley gift.
You don't have a Bobby Lashley one. No. Bring him back. Bring him back, because you know what? You know what Raw was really missing last night was Mr. Iguana. Dead ass. Where was Mr. Iguana last night?
Speaking of Mr. Iguana, I watched some of the clips from Mexico. I truly get it now. I understand why you're excited. I understand why.
Interesting.
Wait. You couldn't vote on the matches, but you did go back and watch Mr. Iguana?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Somehow I'm more offended.
All right.
Somehow
you know what?
I'm more offended.
I'm annoyed, but I'm going to listen. Go ahead. You get it now?
I get it now. I understand why he was over. I understand why everyone loved the gimmick. It's so much fun. Like, this guy, like you two have said, he needs to go straight to the main roster. He's going to be a top merch seller. He is the guy.
Well, and the funny thing is, I was thinking about this before the show while I was putting my son to bed. Put his gimmick in AEW.
Ooh.
Do you think it would have gotten the same level of reception?
No. He would have got the Danhausen treatment.
He would have gotten the pop and a couple good weeks. And I don't think it's an AEW booking thing in this situation. I think that this gimmick is perfect for AAA. I think it translates well to the American audience because it doesn't have to be believable. It's a comedy act that can wrestle. But I've noticed AEW, their comedy acts, it's not like traditional wrestling comedy acts that our audience is used to. It's like
I think part of the problem with AEW though is they try and take their comedy acts and bring them into that mainstream, whereas I think Mr. Iguana I think is a character that's perfect for that lucha libre, cruiserweight. I said bring back the cruiserweight championship, dude. Have a cruiserweight division with your luchas. You got plenty of those little guys now running around. It's not WWF Vince McMahon era where it's all about big sweaty men. Like you got plenty of guys who could wrestle in that cruiserweight division, and Mr. Iguana would be an absolute highlight there, where he doesn't, by setting it up as a new division, it sets it up as a scenario where you don't have to have him trying to be a believable opponent for Cody Rhodes or John Cena.
I think have El Grande Americano versus Mr. Iguana down in AAA for a cruiserweight title would be fucking gold.
I feel like WWE should introduce like a WWE Mexican title.
Honestly, I would transition the WWE Speed titles to be titles for that for down there. I think have the WWE ID titles go down there.
Yeah, because I believe X have a partnership, don't they, with WWE for Speed.
But by having a main roster cruiserweight division, you can just constantly bring up those AAA guys.
True.
And you can hey, all right, this week send me this guy, and these four. They come up, they work a couple of matches. You send them back down. The next week, send me this one, and send this one back. Mr. Iguana can be the star of that division.
Basically the Joe Hendry of the
and you can still populate the AAA division with the majority of those wrestlers, which now makes them more viewable to the AAA audience. Because you have to remember, part of the advantage here is you're going to use the WWE visualization. You know what I mean? You're getting them that much more exposure. That makes them that much bigger stars. So now more people, even in Mexico, want to come see them.
Well, and the interesting thing is the dichotomy in the Mexican lucha community. AAA is not nearly as respected as CMLL. It's seen as AAA seen as the lesser product. By putting the WWE marketing machine behind it and having characters that can be larger than life, even if they're comedy, I think it's the recipe for success. It wouldn't surprise me to see them on the main roster to develop AAA shows around it. To me, it's gold. And then before we transition over to SmackDown, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on Rikishi's comments on his podcast regarding Jey Uso's booking and Roman Reigns' contract situation.
I think Rikishi is in a position where he just needs to slow down, because the problem with Rikishi's viewpoints is that everything that he says, and I understand why. You always want to see the best for your loved ones and your family. But with all due respect, personally, I thought that Jay's championship run was dead on arrival. You guys know I was never a fan of him even being in the WrestleMania main event.
I'd argue that his and Gunther's reigns were both fucking terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you had two back-to-back bad champions. And I don't think the booking helped either of them. I think there could have been far more compelling reason to put Jay in a position for success there. And Gunther, after he won the title, it felt flat to me too. We talked about this when I went to that Raw, him versus Damian Priest, about after he beat Damian Priest, and it just didn't feel right.
I don't think that the story that they told for Jay was the emotionally correct story in order to get him over for his first title win. I honestly think that, for me, a big part of it that fell flat was the fact that Roman never said anything to him about it.
Yeah, yeah, that felt flat. Honestly, Roman's lack of involvement, period, felt flat.
Mm-hmm.
And I do agree with Rikishi. Obviously, you want to see the best for your kids, for your family. I think he's coming off as a little too overprotective of Jay in this instance. I don't think he's doing Jay any favors. I do agree with him on the Roman Reigns stuff because the fact that TKO, even if it's rumors, would be considering trying to renegotiate Roman Reigns' deal. And a lot of people aren't aware. Roman's currently getting $5 million a year. He's on a 3-year contract. That's $15 million. He's part time. The thing is, for the last 5 years, 6 years, Roman's carried the company. He has.
Mm-hmm.
The tribal chief carried the WWE. They carried him through the Fox deal, the multi-billion-dollar Fox deal, to the Netflix billion-dollar deal. You don't take that kind of talent who's once in a lifetime and try to renegotiate their contract for lower money. Because what happens if Roman says, "Fuck you, I'm going to finish this. I'll finish this up," and then he pops up over in AEW? What happens? He could just rename him. He could be the tribal chief, something else.
Joe
Over in AEW.
Hawaii. He's just
I mean,
Joe.
honestly,
He can just be Joe.
Like I could see a world where that happens, and then TKO being 300 million or 3 billion or whatever. Yes, they're overstretched by like an exuberant amount of money. They're cost cutting things, forcing down the value of WWE at that point. Because Roman goes, everything goes at that point. Your next biggest star is CM Punk and John Cena, and one's on the way out. CM Punk's in his mid-40s.
here's the thing, though. Like, I don't think either way. Like, whether Roman leaves or not, like, I don't think he'll go to AEW. I think he'll probably just end up in Hollywood, like The Rock.
Well, I mean, I could see that too, but like as a fuck you move, I could see him going to AEW for a short stint.
Even then, I don't see him going to like any other company. I think he would just retire more likely if he isn't to do Hollywood.
I mean, that is more likely.
Ultimately, like, the thing is they are gonna renew his contract. Like, let's just be real about it. Like,
that would be stupid. That would be a blunder upon blunders.
But then his thing, I kind of get it. He's not getting any old. He's getting older. He's not getting any younger. You
just ask him to work more dates.
Yeah.
Like, if you're negotiating the contract, everything's on the table.
I agree. He should be working more dates. He should have a more visible online presence or on-screen presence, because at the moment they're still trying to run stories that involve things that he started with, that involve him, and he's not around. And his lack of presence, and this is the issue with The Rock too. You got involved and you started things, and now you're not here, and it's not. If it is awkward, because if it was, they talk about the Shield. They bring up the Shield all the time still, right? Mm-hmm. And we all know that Mox is over in AEW. We all know that Mox isn't going to show up. But Roman's still with the company, Mm-hmm. So why couldn't Roman show up? And that's the mindset that you have as a fan going in. You accept that you're not going to see, you're not going to see Dean Ambrose, shocking return to take out his old Shield mates. That's not going to happen, and you just accept it. But when you have people who are still affiliated with the stories and with the storyline, at any moment you're keeping that in your head as an open door possibility that The Rock could show up tonight, Roman Reigns could show up tonight, and legitimately they could, in theory. And the fact that they haven't has overall become a big problem.
But then you
really-
have to ask the question, like, is overexposure of The Rock and even, Roman Reigns a bad thing? Because I feel like
I
if
mean,
we
overexposure of The Rock is what got us to this point with all the shit with John Cena. Roman Reigns hasn't been overexposed. He's been there less than 10 times this year.
I don't
You
think
can't be
it's
overexposed.
overexposure. I don't think it's overexposure with The Rock, because what we really want is more. It's either it's the middle ground that's the problem. Okay, The Rock showed up at Elimination Chamber. Cena turns heel, and we all said, "Oh, this is interesting. Okay, let's go with it. Tell us more." And then they didn't, and then they didn't, and then they didn't, and then they didn't, and then they didn't. And that's what we're talking about here. It's that if he had like shown up and did everything he did and then shown back up, and then now and then we got a reason for it 2 weeks later, Travis Scott came out alongside John Cena, doesn't even say anything. He's just like, yeah, I hang out with famous people now. What about it? Like, there's so many different ways they could have handled that and made it palatable, and they didn't do any of them.
Yeah. Well, and what's funny is let's move over to SmackDown now because I have something that kind of connects to this. They had John Cena throughout the whole show. He was in multiple segments. I find it funny that we finally got an explanation for his heel turn. What, a month or two before SummerSlam? That we should have gotten the night after WrestleMania, that first Raw. We finally got this grand scheme tactician thing that he's been cooking up for years as an explanation. And I'm just like, this is the promo you should have cut at the Raw after Mania.
Yeah,
Like, it was
but then
so-
here's the thing, I kind of like what they did with Cena so far. Like, he's kind of been quite mysterious. Like, he's not fully giving you the reason why. And I think the reason why was, I think they were trying to build up to it. They did it poorly.
I think they didn't have a logical reason in mind. That's why they're doing it. What, Mania was 2 months ago?
Yes.
Dan,
So, like, that's a
you're
long
gonna-
time to go without an explanation.
Yeah, but then I think they did say, like, Cena's heel turn was meant to be at Mania, not Elimination Chamber, but because of The Rock being at the Chamber, it kind of pushed the heel turn.
Fuck The Rock.
when you make the choice that you're going to move up the timeline on the heel turn, it means that you are subsequently making the choice that you need to move up the timeline on the explanation for the heel turn. This is a television show. We're the viewing audience. What are you doing this for? Like, what you're saying doesn't make logical sense. Like, the problem here is you're trying to create what everybody's been saying is we need a connective tissue to put all this together to make it palatable, to make it make sense to us in our heads. And now what you're saying is, well, he did a promo on SmackDown, the B show, months after the fact, months after the show that we were selling. That doesn't make sense.
It's lazy and it's contrived and it's honestly it's just like, oh, we forgot to explain this. Quick, let's get it in there before they notice. Like, that's them treating their audience as stupid.
Let me ask you this, Daniel. Let me ask you this, okay? Does his promo and the explanation that he gave on SmackDown, does that make you more interested or less interested in his WrestleMania match 2 months ago?
I would have said more interested because.
So you're more interested in now going back and watching a match from a couple months ago that you already know the results of and everything. You're more interested in that now?
I was
2
more
months
interested now.
after the fact, now after you know the result. Like, that's the problem. You know the result. That's my point here. You know the result. So the promo that he's cutting is irrelevant.
Mm-hmm. It's to make it. It's to give him an appearance of being more nefarious and more heel-like, because this would be something where The Rock should have cut that promo, or like him and The Rock should have had a segment together to cut a promo like that months ago.
I mean, I still personally believe like he should have just like he acts heelish, like he does like heelish things, but he's still a face. He still believes he's a face. Like he's still a good.
I think you're deluding yourself there, Dan. He's a heel. He looks pained in his face because he knows he's compromising himself, and he's doing a good job acting that way. But to sell this, he's a heel. Otherwise, if he was a face here, none of these matches would make sense. It just wouldn't, because it'd be face versus face. And like, it's far more compelling to have Cena as a heel here. His match with Orton, the feud there, the dichotomy of flipping the roles, the dichotomy of him versus Punk flipping the roles. And what's funny to me is the Summer of Punk, when Punk cut the promo, the pipe bomb, when Cena was through the table. That was right after Cena had faced R-Truth in a match. So to me, I think next week with that match with Truth versus Cena, I think we're going to get a pipe bomb 2.0. It's going to be a little more forced and a little more contrived, but I think
I would almost love to see Cena cut a pipe bomb promo.
Well, that's what I'm thinking about, is have Punk get involved, Cena flip the reverse the roles on him. Punk ends up in a table, and Cena goes, "Now, Punk, while you're sitting there and feeling very uncomfortable, I have some things I need to get off my chest." And he just goes to fucking town on him, goes to fucking town on the fans, on R-Truth. Like, I think that would be far more compelling, and it would really help sell the whole narrative of reversing the roles. The whole taking the belt and ruining wrestling thing, that's literally what Punk tried to do at 2011's Money in the Bank or whatever it was.
And I think even Punk said it, didn't he? In his promo, it was like, you know, you're literally just now the 2011 version of me. Like,
well, I thought their segment together was good. Honestly, anytime they're on the TV together, it's really good. Well, like he's like, well, I sound like a PG Punk, right? And he's like, well, I kind of sound like you, but you sound like me. So like, it's the whole story they're telling here is Cena's compromising his morals and his beliefs in this system through trickery, through deceit, through low blows, through all these nefarious tactics. He's reversing the roles of all the feuds he's gone through. There's a huge opportunity here with him and Punk. There's a huge opportunity with him in Rollins potentially. Like, there's a lot of ways you can go with this.
See, I had this theory, and maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm one of the only few people that believe this. I personally think the Firefly Funhouse match changed Cena. Like he has reduced appearances ever since he came back from that Firefly Funhouse match. And I personally believe that the Cena we know, the Cena we love, is still in that Firefly Funhouse. Like, he's still there. He's good guy, but not good guy, but a part of his soul is stuck in that Firefly Funhouse. And that would... I believe that. No. Oh god. I
literally read this article today on What Culture.
I generally did. I didn't read What Culture. I'm being honest. I personally think, the way I look at it, that Uncle Howdy will come and not rescue Cena, but like will.
You know, if that's the final opponent they give for Cena, and maybe Cena drops the title ahead of time, and then the final opponent is Uncle Howdy, and it's Cena getting released from the Firefly Funhouse, I could genuinely believe that story.
And
I think it would be interesting.
I would like to see like a Cena versus Cena match, like good guy Cena versus the heel Cena we've seen currently, and have them.
That's too goofy for me to suspend my disbelief on.
I think
that's TNA Karate Man shit.
I personally think like this is leading somewhere, and I think Bray's match has definitely maybe played a part in this. I don't think it's just a normal heel turn because it's not in Cena's nature. I'm not quoting what culture. I am not quoting what culture.
-5 stars, -1 aura point.
See, I feel like me and what culture. Maybe they should hire me. Maybe I should be a presenter on there. Maybe they should bring me on the What Culture podcast and realize, you know what?
There's Eric with our nut.
Why would What Culture need to bring you onto their podcast when they already have the ideas before you do?
Because I'm the next Simon Miller. Why? Here's why.
Evan,
I thought it's because they needed a fluffer.
Evan, Daniel's giving me a headache. Can you put that picture of Mr. Iguana back up so I can get some enjoyment out of this? Oh, that's
Yay!
Hey,
Come
Mr. Iguana.
You know what? I'm going to give Mr. Iguana 1 gold star.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to give his iguana a gold star.
Where's my gold star? Come on.
Up your ass and around the corner.
Okay.
Anyways, moving along.
Daniel, would you like a gold star?
Please.
Well, that's...
Please.
I would give
Somebody
you a
out there,
gold star. I would give you a gold star.
Please.
Just 2 things. First, you have yet to say anything intelligent of your own on this episode. And 2, aren't you like 37 stars in the negative right now?
41
I'm pretty sure Evan has docked you like 30 today.
8 today. And because I had to do math there, Daniel, -1 star.
Oh, this is bullshit. So why do I keep losing stars?
Because
Well-
you keep quoting What Culture. Anyways, moving along.
It's not my fault I have the same brain capacity as them.
Goddamn, Eric with the Nugget own counter, and it's a self own of 2. Eric, the Nugget own counter is up to 15 right now. Anyways, Naomi, I enjoyed her promo segment. Having Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton, I'm kind of over that feud, but like, it keeps Tiffany busy. Eventually, Jade will face her for the title.
I thought it was I think it's a nice, like, just little callback. It's easy. It's non-threatening. It takes up TV time while we're getting the other pieces in place. You know, it more felt like just keeping people relevant.
Yeah.
But in the right kind of way. In the right kind of way, honestly. Like, I mean, isn't it important to still see Nia as like an active member of the roster? Don't you want to have Tiffany Stratton appear on the show where she's a champion?
Wait, hold on.
Yes.
They never finished their rivalry. I mean, Tiffany won the title of Nia Jackson and they never finished it.
They've had multiple matches since then, dude.
Did they?
What are you talking about?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
It's like you don't watch the shows.
That was like her first feud after winning the title.
See, I thought she was meant to have her match at WrestleMania. I was like, oh, you know.
No, they had a feud before Mania, and then a feud after Mania, like for a couple weeks after she beat Charlotte.
Oh.
Hey Evan, do you think we could get the iguana on the show to replace Daniel?
Yeah.
What?
It won't have a British accent. We might lose some points there, but we'll pick up huge points in the Latin American market. So let's call Mr. Iguana and make that trade, and then he can stick his hand up Daniel's ass.
Muy bueno.
Ping.
I am actually offended that you think iguana is more entertaining than I am.
Do fucking better.
I don't know what to tell you, Daniel.
This feels like let's make Daniel Roberts the punching bag show.
We bust each other's balls too.
My
Moving
balls a
along,
lot.
we saw the Wyatt Six back in action. They beat the Motor City Machine Guns. Is it just me or has the Motor City Machine Guns kind of fell off to the side in this tag
Yeah.
division?
Uh,
Like I
they've
said,
been
I don't think
dropped. They've been dropped like a. It's sad, honestly. Bring them over to Raw. Raw needs tag teams. I'd be
have
down
them
for
feud with New
watching
Day.
the New Day versus it was New Day versus Motor City Machine Guns. I'm down for watching that.
That'd be gold.
Honestly, do you know what? I would actually send them down to NXT because I think that'd be amazing in that tag division.
I don't think NXT isn't hurting for tag teams. Raw is. Raw doesn't have that many babyface tag teams.
I mean, didn't NXT lose Axiom though? Didn't they? I swear.
I mean, to SmackDown, yeah, but like, we've got Final Four finals for the King of the Ring, like we discussed earlier. Cody, Sammy, Jay, and Randy Orton. There's a lot of opportunities there. Honestly, this SmackDown, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. I would honestly just call it like a C plus show. It's like C's get degrees. You showed up, you get credit. Biggest missed opportunities is our next topic. But before we get into that, make sure you go to duelingguard.com, enter the code SOG so you don't miss an opportunity to get some sweet deck boxes, sweet mats, sweet sleeves, sweet binders featuring characters from One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Dragon Ball Z. There's tons of amazing anime. I have a sweet Shin Godzilla mat that I got from them that I'm going to be doing a review for this week. I got to play with it this last week at Saturday Night Commander for Magic the Gathering. Everybody loved the deck boxes. I've been asked actually if they could try to get them into their stores. Just make sure you check them out. And without further ado, let's hop into missed opportunities. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 missed opportunities that I came up with that I thought were unique.
Interesting.
I guess I'll lead with the first one. I think Zack Ryder, during the 2010s when he got himself over on his own as the internet champion, I think that was a huge missed opportunity. I think them giving him a one-day IC title run at that Mania and then having him drop the belt immediately when he was so over, one of the most over acts in WWE at that point, is a huge missed opportunity to really establish some mid-card credibility. You could have had him feud with Kane. He could have feuded with John Cena as a heel for the world title during that time. There's a lot of opportunities that they really just dropped the ball with when it came to him. Honestly, him and Hawkins really kind of got the shaft in the early 2010s when it came to opportunities.
All right, Mark. I'm giving you the opportunity. I don't want to step on your toes here.
Okay. Well, one of mine, I think it's a stupid one, I will say. So people might not like this, but it's Santino Marella winning the 2013 Royal Rumble. I think that is such a missed opportunity.
Who won instead of him? I know he was second. Was it
was
Randy Orton? Or
No,
Alberto?
it's the
I think that
40
was
Royal Rumble.
I thought that was Alberto.
Yeah.
Wasn't that Alberto Del Rio? You know what? Yeah. You know what?
That was John Cena. That was John Cena who won that.
Wait, was it not? Or was it with the 2012? Hold on.
I know the Royal Rumble that you're talking. I know the Royal Rumble you're talking about.
Oh, 2011, where it was Del Rio and Santino at the end.
Oh, it's 2011. Okay.
And it came down, and Santino had the fans behind him. In that moment, it had been really good, and I think it could have been really interesting. Like, I agree with you, but I have to, So, is it after this year? After this year specifically, in the year we had, and I think it's an interesting kind of litmus test for it. Yeah, it would have been cool in that moment. and then the moment ends, just like Jey Uso winning in the moment. Didn't expect it. Very cool. And then that moment passes, and you realize now your main event at WrestleMania is Santino Marella.
Yeah. I think you could have told a really compelling long-term story if you built it right, but I wouldn't say it's not a missed opportunity. I think there's potential for anything to be a missed opportunity. Honestly, I'd say that was one of the weaker Royal Rumbles in terms of the final combatants.
I generally believe that like if Santino won it, it would have been like pre Daniel Bryan kind of momentum. I think it would have been like.
I wouldn't go that far. Would not.
Really?
Santino had the crowd behind him, but he didn't have something like the Yes Movement.
No.
That's a whole other different level, man. I was there live for some of the Yes Movement shows.
I do think that it could have been a better version, honestly, of the Jey Uso story that they told, where he wins, everyone looks at him and tells him, dude, you're a joke. You have no chance of winning this. And then he's like, no, I'm not a joke. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to prove you all wrong. And then week by week, all leading up to it, he just goes undefeated, just runs through fucking everybody to the point where you're like, holy shit, is Santino about to win the world title at WrestleMania? Like, holy shit, could that happen? Like I could see that being an interesting story. So I'm not gonna knock you for that one. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna give you a bronze star.
Ah!
I don't know if I
you get 100 of those. It's redeemable for a silver star.
100 silver stars, you can get yourself a gold one. You're on your way.
I'll double that, Daniel. I'll make sure you get 2 bronze.
2 bronze stars.
Can
right
I trade
there,
dude.
Dude.
Can I trade those 2 bronze stars for a silver star?
You need 100 of them.
You need 100.
That will take me centuries to win.
You're gonna you know what?
All
you gotta do is
I think you can do it by end of year.
We believe in you. We believe in you, Daniel. You don't believe in you. We believe in you. And I really think
thanks, Eric.
Right now you have the former SOG predictions champion and the current predictions champion. I know you're not a champion yourself. I know that's hard on you, but champions believe in you.
Just do better.
Notice Steve doesn't believe in you. He's just telling you to do better.
We believe in you.
We believe in you, Daniel.
We, the people, believe in you.
We, the people.
Wow,
that was
you know
a missed
what?
opportunity.
No joke. We were before the pod tonight. Daniel and I were talking, and I can't believe that's the second time Jack Swagger's come up in conversation in one day. That's crazy. He's never been that relevant.
That's more than that happened during his career. That's for sure.
Jesus Christ. Jack
Okay,
Swagger.
so when I'm talking about missed opportunities, and obviously, I don't know. I don't think you mentioned this. We agreed prior to the show tonight that we were not going to be doing the Nexus
invasion angle.
versus
No
invasion angle. That's just low hanging fruit. But one that got missed that I will bring up because I honestly think it could have changed the trajectory of an entire company is how Bret Hart was used in WCW.
Absolutely. That's one of the ones that I was considering. I didn't end up putting it on my list because I figured you would have it on yours.
So Bret Hart coming into WCW right after the Montreal Screwjob. He was one of the hottest names in all of professional wrestling at that moment. And the fact that he never actually had that clash with Hogan for the title, the fact that there was just this wishy-washy style of booking on whether he was a member of the NWO or not. Instead of just booking him as a main event talent that was set up right out of the gate to be challenging, and honestly, you didn't have to have him go right after Hogan. He could have
went
just
after the
been
US
running.
title.
He could have been just running through the top guys, but he should have just been on a solid run through nonstop. I wanted to see him run through Macho. I wanted to see him go at Hall. I wanted to see him tangle with Sting. I wanted to see him tangle with DDP. There were guys on that list that obviously he did have matches with, but it should have been a nonstop like greatest hits tour right out of the gate, all leading into I'm coming for Hogan. And what I think would have been really cool.
We're coming for you.
What I think would have been really cool is you do a 6-month buildup of Bret Hart running through guys, gets himself a number one contender shot. He gets his title shot against Hogan, and then NWO comes out and screws him. Hart is gone for a month, 2 months, 3 months. He disappears. When he comes back, it's not even registered at first. You just have NWO guys being taken out backstage, one by one, and you got 1,000 NWO jobbers. Vincent, he's out. Brian Adams, he's out. Scott Norton,
Horace
he's
Hogan.
out. Horace Hogan, he's out. Like, we got tons of them that we can take out, and it becomes a question: who's taking these guys out? And then you realize
Who done it thing.
It's the Hitman. The Hitman. And you actually like lean into that Hitman name. He has been strategically taking out everyone, and all leading up to him versus Hogan. It would have been great.
I think that would have been great. Well, mine is a low-hanging fruit we didn't really talk about, but I kind of wanted to get out of the way because I feel like it would be remiss if we didn't mention it. Sting versus Taker. The fact that we didn't even get them crossing paths. The fact that we didn't get them crossing paths during Sting's run in WWE is a sin. I think you could have had a simple match with those two during that run that would have been enough to satisfy the fans. Even though they were both past their prime, Sting could still fucking go. His AEW run proved it.
Well, Undertaker could still go. He had several great matches after that.
I think honestly, I don't know who was in charge of necessarily. Maybe Vince wanted to protect Taker, didn't want to let a WC guy have the win, or anything like that.
No, that's match, stupid though. Let him go at it at WrestleMania, because here's the thing: when you have Sting against Triple H at WrestleMania and Triple H wins, it felt like a big slap in the face. Everybody's talking about the fact that, Sting didn't get to ever win a WrestleMania match. That becomes the conversation, right? It became a conversation because Sting never got to win a match at WrestleMania. But on the other side of it, if the match was against The Undertaker and Sting lost to The Undertaker in his only WrestleMania match,
would have been a non-issue.
But it's part of the streak. Nobody beats The Undertaker. It's all part of that legacy now. And yeah, it's a non-issue. Exactly. It wouldn't have been a big deal for him to lose to The Undertaker, but for him to lose to Triple H, it became more of a slap in the face towards WCW. And ultimately, I think it hurt Sting's relationship with WWE. I think it's why, he went and did his run in AEW.
Absolutely agree with you there. Dan, what do you got for us?
I got a controversial one. So you're probably going to get out your pitchforks. The audience are probably going to fucking kill me for this opinion and this idea that's in my head right now. It's the missed opportunity of making, I can't even say this, James Ellsworth misses Money in the Bank. Right, I know.
Okay, right. I'm gonna let you pitch this, but understand that if this isn't good, I'm getting up. I'm walking out that door. I'm getting on a plane to the UK, and I'm coming to kick your ass.
Okay. Right. Okay. I already know you're not gonna like it, but trust me, it is a lot of fun. So essentially, becomes Money in the Bank. Right? Money in the Bank,
Right.
same result. You know, James Ellsworth gets involved. He climbs up the ladder, takes down the briefcase, but he doesn't throw down to Carmella. He doesn't throw enough in time because the bell goes because the briefcase comes down. So the girls realize, wait, who won? They look up and they go, oh shit. Next night, they have a massive disgruntle about this whole situation. It's like, Shane, what you gonna do? Daniel, what you gonna do? They're like, we can't do anything. Once the bell's being rung, we can't change the result. So James
Does
Ellsworth.
Mr. Mercer have his passport ready?
So James Ellsworth is the Miss Money in the Bank, and obviously, but Shane makes it difficult for him. Week after week after week after week, he has to defend that briefcase against every woman on the roster, and he wins by luck, and also with some help with Carmella, because everyone's going to think, oh, it's going to lead to Carmella.
Wins by luck.
Yes.
Like
Can
a
you?
roll-up?
Okay, I hate that I have to even ask this, but what does wins by luck mean?
So whether it's it's cheating, whether it's like roll of the tights, winning by count out, he just finds different types of way of winning, or maybe having like Carmella, take out maybe Becky Lynch or Naomi or whoever with the briefcase, rolling them back in 1, 2, 3 like that. So it's not clean victories, but they are victories over the women, which I know
Okay,
it doesn't sound great.
I don't hate this so far because it gives me Andy Kaufman level vibes. I do think there has to be a payoff for this, and I want to know what your payoff is.
There is. Okay. So we get to the Royal Rumble. Carmella wins it this year. Wait, actually, was the Royal Rumble in this?
I don't think they had a women's Royal Rumble at that point.
Okay, so we'll just say like, I don't know who was holding the briefcase at the time. No, it was Carmella, but I don't know who was the title holder. Who was it? Who was the title holder? I don't remember. Who was holding
Alexa
it?
Bliss?
That's it. So eventually we have maybe Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss at the Royal Rumble. And you're going to hate this. You're going to really hate this. Becky Lynch wins, right? James Ellsworth comes underneath the ring, briefcase, hit over the head of Becky Lynch. Right? Wait. Okay? Hold on. He's about to cash in until we hear Carmella's theme hit. She runs down. He cashed it in, but she takes the title. So Carmella wins the title with the help of James Ellsworth, so he doesn't actually cash it in. But there is a catch. James Ellsworth, because of his offer, he gets a women's title match at, I believe, either Fastlane or Elimination Chamber. I can't remember, one of the two, against Carmella for the title. And then obviously for Mania you have a ladder match for the title, and James Ellsworth was in that, but he gets taken out earlier on, so it's just all women. And it's basically the Money in the Bank briefcase match, but with the title on the line. And
why? This is a genuine question, because at this point, my brain is fried from that. Just trying to wrap my head. Why can't you Why can't you be happy with the men holding the men's titles, and you have to keep going after men holding women's titles, like James Ellsworth winning a women's championship? Like last week you were talking about Santina Marella.
I mean, at least Carmella's still cashing the briefcase technically, but she technically doesn't.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response was there anything even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. May God have mercy on your soul. Negative 100 stars. And everyone in this room is now dumber for it.
Well, on that note,
I've lost it. I've lost the plot at this point. I think that. I think we're going to the wrap up.
And I'm taking your bronze stars.
Yeah, should I just leave then? Should I just go? Should I just show myself out?
You made us weather the shitstorm, Daniel. We're each going to get one more, and then we're going to wrap it up, and then we're all going to go think and take a shower and get that off of us.
Imagine that James Ellsworth Miss Money in the Bank in the future alternative universe.
No, I'm good.
No, man. No.
Yeah, Brian. One
so
more.
The other one that I was gonna, I don't even have all my points to it now. They've all fallen out of my head. I had a whole thing about Kurt Angle and Stephanie McMahon running away together, and how like I really thought that Stephanie becoming Kurt's like full-time manager.
It's money in the bank.
I'm gonna mute you, Daniel.
I had this whole idea for Kurt Angle and Stephanie McMahon following the SummerSlam match, where Kurt would have taken Stephanie from Triple H, and it would have been a whole thing with the two of them. How did he manage to book a worse storyline and call it a missed opportunity?
I thought he was joking when he said he was related to Vince Russo. I don't think he was joking.
He wasn't joking.
My last one is kind of a Ted DiBiase and Jake the Snake as world champs in the 80s. I think it was a huge missed opportunity to have Hulk Hogan hang onto the belt for as long as he did. I think it really ruined the credibility of top-level heels during that time. And, it's how we ended up in the situation of Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan for WrestleMania 5. Everything is a trickle-down effect to that point. I think it is a missed opportunity not having either of those guys be the world champ, to give Hogan kind of a reset. And then I think Austin versus Lesnar was a huge missed opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That is money just being left on the table.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to let Daniel on here as long as he keeps his mouth professional.
Daniel, would you like to apologize to the people for having to listen?
I'm muting him. That's going to do it for us tonight. That I am one half of your hosts, Evan Jones. Have a good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Brian Mercer. Ask you to have a great week. Make sure to go to the Ring Review. They're doing an award show to nominate all the best in indie wrestling, from indie wrestlers to commentators. Even a certain manager might be on there that you can vote for. I'd love your support. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for taking him out of here. I couldn't, man. I just couldn't do it anymore.
I think you're going to have to go get your passport and catch that red eye to London.
I think I am too. That's going to do it for us. We'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.
See you guys later. Bye.